Jen Psaki was asked a question about the bill, the extra COVID relief bill to extend it and do more things, right? And as it turns out, it's being blocked, right? It's being blocked by mostly Republicans, right? So here's a question, and watch how she answers it. I think the way she answers it is important, but I think it needed a bit more depth. Check this out.
Going back to COVID funding, obviously this is something that White House officials stressed today. This is something the president addressed in his State of the Union address. But if this is so important for the president and the White House, will he meet with Republicans individually? Will he make his case to them personally?
I would note that there's a number of Republicans who won't even return our phone calls about the impact of the lack of COVID funding and how they will impact their constituents. So that's probably the best place to start. Go ahead.
Yeah, how are you going to get it through Congress? You have Republicans in the Senate who are making it very clear, leadership saying that there is no Republican support for moving any more money for COVID relief because they believe the White House hasn't made a strong enough case that funds can't just be moved around to fund these priorities.
Sure. Well, we've been making that case publicly and privately back to earlier this year. So those are the facts. We've also been, as I just noted, attempting to engage with and have these conversations with, of course, Democrats, but also Republicans. COVID doesn't discriminate just by party at all. I think what we're trying to do is really be very clear and direct about what the impacts will be. I mean, some of these programs, funding for treatments for immunocompromised, providing free tests and masks, providing free boosters and vaccines, those will impact millions of Americans potentially in this country, regardless of their partisan affiliation. So what we're doing, we're going to, of course, leave the process and the vehicle up to Congress. We are encouraging them and aggressively calling for them to move these resources immediately. And what we've tried to do is break down what the impacts are going to be on different states and also when specific programs will end so that it doesn't feel like just a number, but feels like a direct impact on programs and people's lives.
In terms of whether money can be moved around, I know you've said before that it can't be moved around. What we're hearing from the Hill is that they believe there's about $100 million that could be shifted. And certainly there was an agreement with the four leaders to shift funds that fell apart in part because governors balked. But is there money that could be moved? Do these dire consequences have to start next week, or could funds be shifted and then later allocated?
Well, the opposition, as you note, prevented that from being a portion of what moved forward, right? I don't know that opposition has changed at this point in time. But also, it's important to note that we believe that this should be provided on an emergency basis, not something where it will require offsets. It shouldn't have to require taking money from states who are using it for different programs, whether it's funding cops or police officers or other programs. That was a part of the discussion and the negotiation, but not aware of any change in the support for that.
The inhumanity of anyone who opposes this bill to enhance COVID support. And let's get it further. Do you think if it were on the other shoe, that it was Democrats holding up something that saves people's lives, that they wouldn't have gone much harder at it? I love Jen Psaki, but this one I don't think she's handling right. I think Jen Psaki immediately should come out and say, Republicans had no problem voting for military equipment for Ukraine. They had no problem spending $1 with the defense industrial complex. But when it comes to saving their fellow human beings in their states, they couldn't. They wanted offsets. Nobody asked for offsets for Ukraine. Nobody asked for assets whenever we're going to war. Nobody asked for assets when we're buying bombs, when we're buying these types of things. Why ask for offsets when we're trying to buy things to save people's lives? That is the direction of the argument that needs to be taken. We need to come out and say, the party of death is at it again. They will buy weapons of destruction, of killing, without batting an eye. But ask for weapons to heal. Ask for weapons to improve someone's humanity. Ask for weapons to make one's lives better. And their answer is crickets. No. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.